Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss?, where today I'll be discussing the third episode of the fourth season of Star Trek Discovery, titled Choose to Live, and looking for all the Easter eggs and references that you may have missed while watching it. This episode followed three separate but equal plot lines, as Burnham and Tilly were sent on a mysterious mission, Stamets and Booker traveled to Navarre to search for help, while Adira aids Gray in becoming whole in his new android body. There were some really cool references too, especially ones referencing Deep Space Nine, Picard, and perhaps even Star Wars, and I will list everything I found here. If you do enjoy this video, please leave a like to help it get out to more people, and subscribe so you know when my videos are released. Also, I've been sick the past few days, so I apologize if my energy is a bit off for this video, but I'm going to fight through it. With that in mind, let's dive into this episode, which was my favorite so far this season. The title of the episode is part of a saying by the Qowat Milat ninja nuns that were introduced in the series Picard, but had been around for hundreds of years by that point. Elnor, one of the supporting characters on Picard, repeats this phrase before he does his fatality, and the entire idiom is recited later in this episode. The episode begins with a robbery of dilithium on a Federation starship named the USS Credence. The assault is led by a member of the Qowat Milat, which is proven by her using the turn of phrase I just mentioned. Although she looks to be Romulan, she uses a Vulcan neck pinch to subdue an officer. The commander puts up one hell of a fight, but is no match for Giovanni, the leader. It turns out that we are watching a recording of this event at Starfleet headquarters that includes the leaders of the Federation and Navarre, as well as Michael Burnham and her mother. Because of the circumstances and the Federation president wanting to appeal to the president of Navarre, it is decided that Gabriel Burnham will go with the Discovery to apprehend Giovanni. We saw last season that Gabrielle was taken in by the Qowat Milat after she traveled alone to the future before Michael and Discovery joined her. Giovanni is undertaking this mission because she is tied to something called a Quallen Key, which binds a member of the Qowat Milat to someone or something that is thought to be a lost cause. This is the reason that Elnor pledges his sword to Picard on that series, as he sees him and his original mission to uncover a conspiracy as a lost cause. Getting Navarre to join the Federation is obviously a priority, and it looks like President Rilak is there to make this happen. One of the most definable traits of Cardassians that we saw on Deep Space Nine was their lust for political influence, and it appears that this has not been lost on her. Tilly stops by the mess hall to speak with Saru about how she is feeling about her future. She mentions wanting to help Saru with his garden, and in Season 2 we saw that Saru's quarters are basically a garden, and that has been expanded upon this season. It really feels to me like Tilly is going to transition off the Discovery soon, as it appears that she is questioning the way her life is going. But let me know in the comments, do you think that this is the beginning of the end for Lieutenant Tilly? Burnham goes to speak with Booker and asks for the use of his ship on the mission. She then speaks with Stamets, who has a new theory about what they are facing, which he has dubbed the Dark Matter Anomaly, or DMA. Dark matter is composed of particles that do not absorb, reflect, or emit light, so they cannot be detected by observing electromagnetic radiation. Dark matter is material that cannot be seen directly, and makes up between 65 to 80% of the universe. Stamets sends the data to the Navarre Science Institute, and Booker asks to travel with him to help. In another section of Discovery, Adira and Dr. Kolber are preparing the android body for Gray to incorporate into. Guardian Z arrives, and he appeared last season on Trill and helped Burnham and Adira understand the Tal symbiote. Guardians are unjoined Trill that devote their lives to the preservation of the Trill symbiotes. The ritual he is using to incorporate Gray into the body is similar to the one seen on Deep Space Nine in the episode Facets. In it, Trill crew member Jadzia Dax allows her prior host to incorporate other members of the crew temporarily in order to interact with them. In this case, the host that is Gray will occupy the body of the android permanently instead of returning to Adira. On Booker's ship, Burnham and Gabrielle discuss the mission, and her mother reminds Burnham that she went after Spock to save him when everyone else believed that he was a murderer. This was a big part of the second season of the show, and it turned out that the recording of him committing these crimes was doctored. They arrive at what they believe to be a moon, and they are attacked by Giovanni's mercenaries. In the battle, the Qowat Milat sister that accompanied them is killed. Gabrielle is able to take out the mercenaries, and the group transport to the moon. Back on Discovery, Gray has yet to incorporate into his body, and Adira is worried because they can no longer feel him. This again ties into the Deep Space Nine episode Facets, as after the ritual had begun, Jadzia can no longer feel her host inside of her. On the moon, the group learns that this is part of a lost civilization and finds thousands of stasis pods. They also find one pod open and an alien that has perished. When Tilly scans it, the alien is not found in the Starfleet database. This could mean that the civilization has been deceased for over thousands of years if they are from the Alpha Quadrant and Starfleet had never had contact with them before. She states that the dead alien's biomatter is partially comprised of latinum, and gold-pressed latinum is a form of currency shown to be used in the past, especially by the Ferengi, that must still be valuable in this time. The group discovered that what they thought was a moon was actually a ship. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but this really reminded me of the famous line from Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars A New Hope, and the fact that everyone here is carrying swords may also be a callback to the Jedi's favorite weapon. On Navarre, Stamets tries to work with the scientists there, while Trina, the president of Navarre, speaks with Booker about his loss. She mentions to him that Vulcans do in fact have strong feelings, but choose to suppress them, and this is something that has been repeated by basically every Vulcan main character in the franchise. While they wait for Gray to find his body, Adira and Dr. Culber play darts at a bar on Discovery. I feel like this whole scene is a callback to Quark's bar on Deep Space Nine. First of all, they are playing darts, which was something that another doctor, Dr. Bashir, as well as Chief Miles O'Brien, would play compulsively during the 7 seasons on Deep Space Nine. Also, it's a blink and you miss it moment, but the bartender is briefly shown, and I believe that it is a Ferengi, which were the same alien race that Quark was. Also, there's a Lurian sitting at a table at the bar, and the first Lurian ever seen was named Morn and was always shown to be sitting at Quark's bar. In case you are not aware, the writers on Deep Space Nine gave the character the name Morn because it sounded like the name Norm, who was a famous character from the series Cheers. A conversation between Saru and Dr. Culber confirms that the Doctor is also the ship's counselor, which is something I mentioned last week looked to have already occurred. We didn't see a ship's counselor on Star Trek until The Next Generation, so Discovery may not have had the position on the ship before they time traveled. On the Death Star, Gabriel and Giovanni fight, and Giovanni gains the upper hand. Burnham is able to talk her down after learning that Giovanni was compelled to this place after receiving a telepathic distress call. This is similar to what happened to Captain Picard in the Next Generation episode The Inner Light, in which an extinct civilization created a probe that could telepathically communicate with people and show them what their world was like. In that case, the probe caused Picard to remember a life of over 40 years on the planet, even though he was unconscious for only minutes. They also learned that the reason that Giovanni is stealing the dilithium is so that she can move the moon before the dark matter anomaly destroys them. Instead, Burnham says that they should help this race awaken, which would fulfill her oath to them. On Navarre, the scientists there do not agree with Stamets' conclusions. Tarina suggests a mind meld with Booker so that she can relive the experience and study the destruction. Booker has to relive the experience as well, which seems to provide him with some type of closure. I really love the effects they use to show the mind meld going into and out of phase. Discovery has done a really good job using new technology to expand on things from the history of the franchise, and this is another example. Burnham is able to awaken the aliens, and Tilly is also able to fix the engine so that when they awake they can avoid the dark matter anomaly. Even though Giovanni is arrested for her crimes, they see that this race of aliens will survive, fulfilling her quest. They bring her to Starfleet headquarters, but Giovanni is then put into the custody of Navarre. Burnham and Vance are obviously not happy that they will not be able to hold her accountable for the death of an officer, but the president assures them that bringing Navarre into the Federation is more important to her than justice. Gray finds his way into his new body, and Adira is there to meet him. Gray is now the second character after Jean-Luc Picard to live on in an android body. This form of transcendence could basically make people immortal, so it'll be interesting to see if this side of the technology is ever explored in either series. Well, that was everything I saw this week, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?